Welcome to Podnutz Daily for Monday, May 11th, 2009, episode number 169. Okay, let's talk about some computer repair stuff here. This is a personal computer repair problem I had. Comcast, major Comcast problem. What it was my upload speed was just shot. And every time I tried to do a podcast, especially on Ustream for those of you who are watching live, and by the way, the attendance has really fallen out for Podnutz Daily, hasn't it? Let me raise my mic up here a little bit, actually. Here's the deal with that. Upload speed shot. I was up on the phone. If you listen to the last Nuts at Night, you hear the whole story. I was up on the phone with Comcast for like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, and they could not fix my upload speed. I even upgraded my package and everything. They even sent a guy out here. Finally they suggested it might be my modem. So I said, well, I'll buy a modem. If it's not the modem, I'll just return the modem. I bought a modem. Man, that was the problem. My download speed was great. Upload speed was crappy. I was getting like not even 1 meg upload. I need over a meg to do a good Ustream. You know, because upload is always fluctuating. If it gets below a certain point, boom, the Ustream cuts out. So you guys should have full video quality, full audio quality on the Ustream. And I put the new modem in up to like 5 megabits per second upstream. So it was definitely the modem. It only took me 2 hours to get that answer out of them, and they weren't even positive about that. I still don't like Comcast. I got to say one good thing about Comcast. I know, I can't believe I'm saying that. One good thing about something related to Comcast, let's put it that way. There's a guy named Frank. He's on Twitter. His Twitter name is Comcast Cares. And I Twittered him. He got back to me almost immediately. Then he emailed me. He emailed me when I emailed him back, and he really got back to me fast. So that chilled me out a little bit in the meantime. So thank you, Frank from Comcast Cares. At the shop, had a laptop, a Toshiba laptop coming in. It was having boot problems. It would start up, and it would just the scroll bar at Vista on boot up, Vista, would just keep going and going and going. The thing would never boot. Well, what we did was did all kinds of things to try to fix that. If you hit F8 when you boot up a computer running Vista, you'll get like a option to repair my computer. You could hit that, and that should bring up a menu of things you could do to try to fix your computer. Like go to a command prompt, or do a startup repair, or do a system restore. Or if it's a factory partition, you can do a factory recovery, which pretty much wipes everything, so be careful with that one. But this particular computer, when I tried to get into that system repair console, it wouldn't work either. That wouldn't go into it either. So I couldn't do that. So my next thing to do was to put a Vista disk in, boot from the disk, and try to repair it that way. So I put a Vista disk in, and what was it doing when I put a disk in? Let me just read my notes. Oh, when I booted from a Vista disk, I had a page fault in non-paged area and a disk.sys error. So on a blue screen and a disk.sys error, I'm thinking maybe the hard drive's bad. So I ran ctools on the hard drive. It passed the ctools test. So since I could not get to that hard drive, even booting from a Vista disk to repair it, I pulled the hard drive out. I backed up all the information, all the customer's information onto another drive. I put their hard disk back in the machine, formatted it, reinstalled Vista. That worked. It installed fine. Everything seemed fine. I went to go back to put the data on. I rebooted the computer one time just to get updates or whatever. Crashed again. It stopped at the exact same spot, actually. I said, okay. Here's like the moral of the story, I guess. Even though it passed the ctools test, that hard drive was bad because I checked everything out on that computer. It was perfectly fine. How do I know everything else was fine? I put in a Knoppix Live CD and I ran it. It ran perfectly. If you could put a Knoppix Live CD in a computer and it can run perfectly, you know a couple things right off the bat. You know your CD drive is good. You know your processor's good. You know your motherboard's good. You know the RAM is good, and that's pretty much everything except the hard drive. So it left the hard drive that was the problem. I thought we could get away with using his hard drive after I formatted it, but it failed. So even though it passed the ctools test, the hard drive was still Not necessarily bad, but it was flaky. It was going to flake out. Once I replaced the hard drive, installed Vista, thing ran like a champ. So definitely a hard drive problem. So, but C-Tool said it wasn't. An interesting job that one was. Are you saying the video, I'm talking to the guys in the chat room, the video's still freezing there? You got to be kidding me, Kent. Yeah, I don't know if that's me on this time. I got like 5 to 7 megabits upload speed. We'll see what happens at the end. It's either Ustream or you. Okay, everybody else is good. Now, on the next line here, we got computer slowing up and freezing. Okay, IBM ThinkPad. IBM ThinkPad. Started it up, and it gets to a certain point in the Windows startup, then freezes, meaning you can't even move the mouse. Everything's frozen. Doesn't turn off, it's just frozen. Start the computer up again, freezes at a different spot. Started up a couple times, tried to get some certain things done, tried to reinstall Windows, it would get to a certain point and then freeze. Then it would get to a different point and then freeze. Basically, it was random. When you're running into a computer that has random freezing like that, I look towards processor, possibly motherboard. Maybe a heat sink off the motherboard fell off or something. It's causing the motherboard to flake out when it gets hot. Or the fact that the processor has been getting hot so much it's fried and can only do really low-level work. I've seen that before, too. Well, needless to say, we tested everything else out again with what? Knoppix disk. Throw a Knoppix disk in there. We pulled the hard drive out. We wanted to make sure it wasn't the hard drive. Pulled the hard drive out and tried to run Knoppix. Knoppix would not load all the way. We switched out the RAM, put different RAM in. Knoppix still wouldn't load all the way. Okay, so we know the RAM's good. Hard drives are relevant because it's still not working. That only leaves motherboard, processor, and CD drive. I think we tried with another CD drive as well. Still, Knoppix would not load. That leaves motherboard/processor. Called her up with the bad news, said it's either one of two things. Processor, it's going to be a $250 repair. Motherboard, it's going to be a $350 repair. She's a long-term customer. I kind of wanted her to get a new computer. She was definitely due. So I had a little high price there, you could say. Recommended she get a new computer, and I'll transfer all the data, and that's what she did. But it was an older ThinkPad, Pentium 4, Centrino. It would have been a pain to replace those motherboards anyway, so the high price deservedly. And she bought a new computer. She got an Acer, which I like. Acers are cheap, and they're just as durable as any of the other computers out there, if you ask me. So she got a good deal on an Acer, brought it in, and all she wanted transferred over, and this was the easy part, all she wanted transferred over was all of her AOL emails and all of her AOL in the email address. All of her